Well, a gine cór an gédal sias mahan hain agus sam fan céile saivin. Far an firkin fótsaró vilir. Agus ag a hóirithe agus sib sé kilúran blian seach do cúig blian an síl. Agus ag a hóirithe tá sé ófudar seanan sérvís atá tóca agéis tá áchtag fao chulórach Déine atá an mhail, nó déine bhfuil riocht spéisialt ag bagart ar é. I must say how welcome you all are on behalf of myself, as I have just said, and my wife Sabina. I'm so pleased that you're all able to be here, and that what is a very, very special occasion, 75 years of existence and of civil defence. And I think it is so important, as I have said, particularly because of 75 years of an organisation that has been helping many of those who are in danger and many of those who are threatened by unforeseen events. Would you like to sit, Sabina? Whether it is, be it really through any of the services that you provide, medical rescue, search and rescue, emergency response, radiation monitoring or community assistance. As civil defence volunteers, you have shown time and again dedication and response capability in support of the primary emergency services, and that is such a vital resource for local communities everywhere. And while the civil defence was established originally to assist the civilian population in dealing with both the preparations for and the consequences of a nuclear war, thankfully the civil defence's skills in coping with nuclear disaster have not had to be tested. But the role of civil defence has evolved over the decades to become one focused on aiding community resilience from different and often unexpected circumstances, whether it is through supporting primary response agencies, responding to the number and severity of extreme weather events, which is now so much more a reality for all of the people on our planet, in assisting the Gardaí with missing person searches, or facilitating local and community-based events. Over the last 14 years, Sabina and I have encountered your presence at so many of the events we attended. Civil defence has played critical roles. For example, I think they were very important in the severe weather response efforts to Storm Ophelia in 2017, Storm Emma 2018, and Storm Elwyn in 2025. Sabina and I are not responsible for those storms, but your response to them and assistance in all of the services was deeply appreciated by the communities and by those involved. I've often, and I visited them myself after different flooding emergencies, the havoc on people's lives that it represents. And then in 20 and 21, you were challenged again because volunteers spent a great deal of time assisting the HSE in dealing with the consequences of COVID-19, the pandemic, and also, as well as that, something that is very important, I think, the restrictions that were necessary but which impacted differently on people of different ages, cohorts and circumstances. And it is an important part then of the history of civil defence, where volunteers have assisted and continue to assist and support groups of people who have been forced back to flee their homes because of warfare and violence and climate change, be it from Northern Ireland at the beginning of the Troubles, the Vietnamese boat people in the 1970s. And I remember it myself. That stage it was very thinly developed, the kind of facilities that were available. And I remember, and I visited their arrival as a very young person in Limerick, for example. Refugees in Bosnia and Kosovo in the 1990s, and more recently those fleeing from Ukraine and to Russia's illegal invasion. And then since March 2022, civil defence volunteers have provided much needed welfare, including setting up temporary accommodation and transport support to those seeking protection in Ireland. And I know that from them there is much gratitude. And then too, I think, for all the stewarding skills that have been to the fore at so many of our major national celebrations. The visit of the Pope in '79 to the welcome home celebrations for Jack Charlton's army following the Italia '90 World Cup. Some of us have to hold on to it as a memory, but then thousands of... Actually, I was at another event that day because that was the day that Nelson Mandela visited Dublin as well. Both events took place, which was a great challenge for all of the volunteers. Thousands thronged the streets to celebrate the Irish soccer team's achievements and others as well. I should tell you, Nelson Mandela had lost his voice, and it was Winnie Mandela who gave the speech at the meeting I was at. Civil defence plays an indispensable role in assisting Gardaí with crowd management at events, as varied as our various demonstrations in support of human rights, gatherings that are incredibly important to give real meaning to what it means to have a global consciousness and respect human rights. And then collective gatherings such as St. Patrick's Day Festival, the Roads of Tralee, the Irish Derby, as well as the music concerts and festivals. You are present at them all, but I've often expressed, and I want to do so again today, how the civil defence volunteers have provided such an important role to so many events we've had here in Oris and Uachtaráin every year. And in our 14th year, I just want to join with preceding presidents in thanking you for all of that assistance, providing first aid, medical assistance we needed, and hopefully not today you're all looking remarkably fit. But all of that work amounting in 2024 to over 3,000 specific operations that go on in the public sphere in Ireland stands as a testament to the professionalism and dedication of the volunteer membership, and for which I, as President of Ireland, on behalf of the people of Ireland, would like to thank sincerely all of the 1,850 civil defence volunteers spread across 31 local authorities. I should say, Minister, you are particularly welcome, and so all are the many representatives representing this activity in the Department of Defence. So today is a celebration of both the organisation and its people, past and present. The civil defence is changing face and its changing of faces, linked by a continuous to an ethos of service to the nation through voluntary endeavour and active citizenship. While the civil defence's success in adapting from its original mission to a peacetime, valuable community support role has ensured its continual relevance and value in Irish society, Irish society has changed, but I think the outstanding dedication and commitment of volunteer members who are serving the Irish people again and again with diligence and care over the years, in good times and bad, I just want to take the opportunity as President of Ireland in thanking you for that spirit of voluntarism and going back to your local community and indeed as well as it does to the wider society. It's very interesting in a few weeks' time now, and I hope to be giving the famine address. I want to say that one of the things that stands out when I look at all the literature that has been published now in the 19th century is that instinct of volunteering, sharing, and being concerned for the other people. That is, in fact, was perceived as a backward trait by those who were interpreting the famine. The suggestion was that they should become more individual-oriented, more dominated by the market, more concentrating themselves. Archbishop Whaley, in fact, felt that even a famine wouldn't be sufficient to bring them up to the standard of what was required by the new version of life. But instinctively, what Ireland shares with so many other countries, its most valuable resource is the instinct to share and be concerned beyond the self. It is something that is defined usually in the literature as hospitality. So it's a hospitality in practice that is incredibly important. I think in doing so, in promoting inclusion and participation, over the years we have been inviting citizens of all ages to make their own imaginative and practical contribution to the shaping of our shared future. A common shared future built on the cooperation, the collective will, participation in every aspect of life. And our civil defence volunteers then are making that a practical achievement and a powerful example of collective will and participation. I think in the circumstances in which we find ourselves now, it is even more important than ever before in seeking to achieve a peaceful, sustainable, inclusive world. It remains a challenge, and we have in recent years been even more challenged. In 2025, we have to remind ourselves, as citizens of a wider global community, that all of our hearts lifted and all over the world, with 2015, the international community, through the conduit of the United Nations, set out a clear and widely agreed roadmap, the 2030 Agenda, to meet our global challenges head-on through the attainment of 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And with just 5 years to go now, worryingly we are some way off these achievements. Indeed, in some areas we're even regressing. We have a historic opportunity and duty to lay the foundations of a new model for human flourishing and social harmony. And we're losing that too. We must confront the militaristic rhetoric that is now undermining our parliamentarianism, and it's indeed threatening our democracy itself. Those who hold power, or who have been elected to do so, should be made accountable for actions and speech, and must be moved to avoid averting their gaze from these crises that I have described and that now envelop us. We're living through a period where militarism has replaced diplomacy, and indeed we're being told of how we're in danger of being at the beginning of a new nuclear arms race and what it constitutes, all its horror. One that is particularly recent given the very origins of the civil defence movement. And while your actions and your volunteering are beyond the self, the support for killing of women and children in the main has had an impact of impunity conferred on it by the most powerful. And that impunity of doing whatever one likes, irrespective of the consequences, is assisted by the silence of those who should be speaking and by the silence of too many of our leaders in the European Union. The international campaign to abolish nuclear weapons, which won the Nobel Prize for Peace in 2017, has told us that the combined spending on nuclear weapons grew by $10.7 billion to $91.4 billion in 2023 over the last 5 years, while $387 billion has been spent on nuclear weapons during this time. When one thinks of what could be achieved in terms of if such funds were not used in the preparations for war, but towards the alleviation of global hunger, global poverty, dispossession, involuntary migration, malnutrition. Today, however, and I just want to say, as I have been now for 14 years in many cases, when the word security is used, surely the ultimate security, as the late and wonderful Pope Francis said, is security from hunger, security from shelter, security in your own place, security from violence. That is the security, really, which tests us as humanity. But today is a day, however, now for celebrating your successes as an organisation over 75 years. It is a success not only of which the Irish people can be proud, but I also think are grateful. And I just want to wish you every success in the roles that you will play in the future. I do thank you again profoundly for what is a valuable contribution. I should say this, Gwym Gochrá agus Banach dar éid an Tácaí, agus Nats Toscinúine Meshit of Jelalo, for all of the new circumstances that you'll be dealing with. I want to wish you every success and those who will join every success. May I say that I'm so grateful this afternoon we will be able to celebrate with you with the help of harpist Denise Kelly and flautist Kieran O'Connor. And I think they are both most welcome. But Fockler Square to finish. May Sabine and I wish you a most enjoyable day here at Orstron. Buongiorno vos an tronona, agus mar a gúirt mé, gach rá agus beannacht don táchaí. Thank you.